Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit. Today, we're making Texas-style smoked spare ribs. And you might ask, what is Texas-style barbecue? Well, it's an extremely complicated and complex process. And if you happen to believe that, I have some oceanfront property in Arizona for sale. Because Texas-style barbecue only takes 3 ingredients to make. So let's get started and I'll show you what it takes to make some of the most delicious spare ribs you'll ever eat. Typically, most racks of Texas spare ribs would not be trimmed to St. Louis style. What that means is St. Louis style ribs have the breastbone removed from the rack of ribs. To trim my spare ribs into St. Louis cut because I think it makes a better presentation, and I'll also smoke the breastbones along with the spare ribs to use as seasoning for beans and soups. I'll leave a link in the description box on how to trim your spare ribs into St. Louis cut spare ribs. As you've seen in my previous rib videos, I leave the membrane on for 2 reasons. Number 1, I feel it helps retain moisture in the ribs, and number 2, I personally like the membrane once it's cooked. It has a somewhat crunchy and chewy texture. But if you want to remove it, go right ahead. Now I'm going to very liberally season with salt and black pepper. So that's 2 of the 3 very complicated ingredients in this recipe. Now give it a good massage and rub the salt and pepper in. Now flip them over and salt the meat side. And pepper the meat side. Now give it another good massage. Now I like to put my meat on the smoker cold. Some people don't. Some people like to leave it out at room temperature. So I like to set these back in their fridge for 1 to 2 hours before putting them on the smoker. It's a personal preference of mine and how I've always done barbecue. In my opinion, there's no right or wrong way as long as you and the people eating your food enjoy it. While the ribs are chilling in the fridge, I'm going to preheat my grill. I'm going to smoke the ribs at 250 degrees using post oak wood smoking pellets. If you're not using a pellet grill, I'll leave a link in the video description on how to smoke ribs on a Weber kettle. Now our pellet grill is up to 250 degrees. Now I'm going to add the ribs. Now I'm going to close the lid and let these smoke at 250 degrees for 5 to 6 hours or until tender. I'm not going to spritz or wrap these ribs. Remember, this is simple, basic, delicious barbecue. Here's the ribs after 2.5 hours, and as you can see, they're starting to get a really nice color. Now close the lid and let them continue to smoke. Here they are at the 3.5 hour mark. And at the 4.5 hour mark, isn't that color getting beautiful? And here we are finally at the 5.5 hour mark. Now I'm going to check for tenderness just using a regular bamboo skewer and sticking it between the bones and seeing how tender the meat is. If it goes in like butter with very little resistance, the ribs are done. Once you remove the ribs from the grill, let them rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. And there you have it. Very simple, very basic, backyard barbecue ribs. And don't think that you're missing out on flavor just because these are simple and basic with salt and pepper. I'm not a big rib person, but when I do eat ribs, this is how I like to eat them. Just with salt and pepper and a little bit of barbecue sauce on the side. The mixture of salt, pepper, and smoke really enhance the natural pork flavors rather than cover it up with a bunch of rub and a bunch of sauce. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you give these a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.